Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones, Indiana It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. The Indiana Jones Minute.
Have you guys ever had in your life a canceled Halloween? And I'm not saying that this is, everything's sort of up in the air as this posts on like Halloween, day. Happy Halloween, everybody.
Yeah.
But, like no one's quite sure what's going to go on and like how it's going to work. And, there's special precautions and things. And, I'm sure there are some people or even some areas that are like, no, we can't.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Do you think that this affects the ghouls and goblins that are out there?
I wonder if it's not even like maybe it benefits them in some way. Maybe
Do you think they're like, no, I was going to haunt tonight, but it's just not the same.
I wonder if it's harder for them to
enough
haunt
already.
effectively when like there's a bunch of kids dressed up as pirates and stuff. Just
Well,
clogging
everyone's
the
also
streets.
completely terrified right now anyway, so
That's right. Everybody's like just a
It's
live
true.
wire.
they're gonna show up and be like, oh hey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I heard about you. You're the dreaded ship captain.
Yeah, join the murder hornets back in the back room.
No, I know. I'm in the attic of the lighthouse and it's haunted and all that. Whatever.
I had a Halloween that I wish had been canceled at the time.
Oh, really?
The Giants were in the World Series and I was trying to watch a World Series game. And like kids kept coming to the door, and I just like go to the door and like toss a bunch of candy. Like I just be like, "Hey, kid, take it."
Now, see, you were the guy. I think I told the story before, but you were the guy for my canceled Halloween, and like I don't know, 70 something. I was like a kid, and I was Spider-Man, and it was pouring rain on Halloween, so the whole area is like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. We'll do it the next day. We'll do trick or treating the next day. But and everybody was into it. Everybody's like, okay, they were all on board. But there was this one house where like, we ring the doorbell, nothing. We ring the doorbell again. And this guy, what? Halloween was yesterday. And he's all like annoyed and everything. And I'm like a little kid. I'm like, but it's today. And he's like, oh, and he like didn't give any candy or anything. He just closed the door. And I was walking away from his house and I remember being like, oh my gosh, it's really, oh, you know what's great? That guy's going to have an awful, awful night. This isn't going to end all night long. What a crumb bum.
He's just going to, do you think how many times like Halloween was yesterday?
Yeah.
Halloween was
Signed.
yesterday.
Don't you people read calendars? Leave me alone. It's 1978 and I have things to do.
No, this is the Eastern Orthodox Halloween.
Right.
Do you think they have holidays in Star Wars other than Life Day?
Yes. We keep saying we're not going to talk about the prequels, but there's like, isn't like the big pod race on Bunta Eve?
Oh yeah, you're right.
I mean, some people celebrate Bunta, but then other people get really excited about Bunta Eve, and they have the big pod
Wait,
race.
wasn't there in the last one? Didn't they show up and there was a big?
It was a festival. I don't know if it was a holiday.
a festival. So was that like
yeah.
their Burning Man or something?
Maybe.
Sure seemed like it. Yeah.
Yeah. God, that's weird.
Yeah.
But so are they? Would it all be sort of like the Empire's calendar?
Life Days. Well, it seemed like Life Day's a local holiday. It's just
That's like a strictly Wookiee
the Wookiee
thing.
planet.
Right. Well, so wait a minute.
That's
in
the only one
Star
I consider
Wars,
canon.
Who's
by
the
way.
government in Star Wars? Is it
The Empire?
So the Empire. It's not. But what's all this like Senate?
That's part of the Empire. It's the Imperial Senate.
The
Yeah.
Imperial Senate.
We covered
But
that
Leia-
last time.
Leia works for the Empire.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
But she doesn't
okay.
like it.
Right.
All
She's
right.
trying to fight
so
it
they're,
from
they're
within.
not like they don't seem quote bad. Like the Imperial Senate isn't necessarily like
Well, I
on
think-
paper it's not bad.
Well, I mean, I think we live in a time where that might not
Yeah, I'm trying to
be
picture
an accurate
a
statement.
supposedly benevolent government body.
Right.
Elected representatives who are,
I
trying
mean,
to
I
do the
know
right
it's funny.
thing.
But that's what's so interesting is Darth Vader. It's like he knows he's bad. He knows it. As a matter of fact, they keep saying he's turned to the dark side. And he's like, oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm on the
yeah.
dark side. I
Yeah.
know I'm evil, and I'm wearing it as a proud badge of honor.
Yeah,
That's
like
interesting
he
because I
wait.
think most bad guys don't think they're bad.
Right.
He never says he's on the evil side. He
That's
just says
true.
he's
He
on the
just says the
dark
dark
side.
side. Yeah.
He says he's on the dark side. So
Yeah.
and they always say like, oh, he's been seduced
Mm-hmm.
by the
Mhm.
dark side. So I mean, there's a
Or
certain
maybe the dark side is just more fun.
Well,
Yeah.
that's fine. I feel like
More
St.
seductive.
Augustine, I was listening to him the other day, a biography on St. Augustine, and he had a lot of fun,
Yeah.
from like age 16 to whatever, 25 or 27. Like he
Yeah.
would go down to town and he'd drink and he'd, go to all the brothels, have a good old time. He had the famous quote where he said, so, Lord, he said like, Lord, help me be chaste, but not today. And he didn't. He wound up for a long time he just he was way into concubinage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then I guess he seemed to be aware of a guy who was on the dark side, or at least was seduced by the dark side, like real
Or at
life
least being
guy.
honest
But he
about
felt like he was trying to do good at the same time. He felt he was
Yeah.
trying to be
Right.
good.
It was a struggle. So do we?
Yeah.
I mean, we don't see that struggle with Vader. Certainly not in Star Wars. I mean, later
No.
on, yeah.
But like, do you think Vader sits down and he's like, I wonder if these farmers on Tatooine are kind of going through a rough time. I wonder if we should, set up like a free enterprise zone or something to help them out, or like we should
Right.
maybe they need some tax relief, or maybe they need some
Yeah. It's
kind
Christmas.
of like moisture subsidies.
Well, the head guys all seem to be self-aware in regards to they're on the dark side.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it is interesting that they're kind of like, they get more bass in their voice. And,
they trill
it's
their
I guess
Rs.
it just is more fun, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I
Would you
totally
rather
like it.
laugh with the sinners than die with the saints, Jerry?
I'd cry with the saints.
Oh, okay. What did I
Well,
say?
that-
Same thing.
Die with the saints.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'm curious. Like Admiral Mummert, is
Yeah.
he considered the dark side because he works for the Empire, or is he considered just a bad guy because of where he works, or is he the dark side?
Yeah. He just wanted to do a good job and be a good admiral, but he happened to be an admiral for an evil institution. Yeah.
But he was also incredibly incompetent, which
Eh.
that seems like maybe he was a hero.
Yeah. Maybe it was by design. Like he's
Yeah.
just sabotaging everything
Well, so
from the inside.
they make it sound like in some of these other movies that if you join up, like, quote, for the army, it's kind of like you join up for the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Yeah.
just the government. Like that's
just
like
the government. That's
any country on Earth. Like people
Yes.
usually don't join like what they think is an evil army. They join
No.
their army. Like they're
Right.
like, this is where I'm from. I'm going to protect my homeland.
But Darth Vader is remarkably conspicuous within the government.
Yeah.
And he's not hiding his dark-sidedness.
But is he conspicuous? Like, is he on the news? Like, if you turn on the news in the evening, is Darth Vader on it, or is he just someone only the head guys know about?
In Star Wars, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
And the
And even
holiday
in Empire,
special,
it's hard to tell.
actually, in the holiday special, the Empire, like everyone sees him as a bad guy. Like even when they're on the news, they're the bad guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. How'd we get on this?
It's
We
Halloween.
were talking about Halloween. Oh yeah, Halloween.
Yeah.
Can I, since it is Halloween as this airs, and nobody can steal my costume idea, and maybe everybody has already had it anyway, and I haven't done it yet, so maybe it won't happen. But I want to get, I have a Darth Vader mask, and I want to get a robe and a little lace thing, and be Darth Vader Ginsburg.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
Okay. We'll see if I pull that off.
Is it much scarier that it's election day weekend in the U.S. than Halloween?
That
That's
happens
a-
like
that's a
every 4
rhetorical
years, I
question.
guess, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And it's always, well, I don't know. It's never been this
I
tense.
think for many, yeah, probably.
Is this the
Especially-
last time we'll get to not, like, from now on, is our own crawl going to say it is a time of civil war?
Perhaps. Don't give anybody ideas. It's weird though. Like Halloween is like all about like, scary movies and stuff, but like, yeah, like November 3rd is gonna be like
This is
it'll be
really
like this-
scary stuff.
it'll be like this, but it's gonna be like the slow burn, like
Yeah.
creeping dread that takes forever ever to find out how it ends and stuff.
Yeah.
Like House of the Devil or something.
Hey, speaking of,
Oh, by the way, I watched The Innocents finally, Pete.
Oh, did you like it?
Yeah. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really good. And a lot
Awesome.
of people, I see a lot of people like, I just watched on Netflix, The Haunting of Bly Manor,
Yeah, Amy.
which
loves
is all, which is, yeah. Okay. She watched it good. Cause I watched it and I know nothing about, I never read the book, Turn of the Screw and anything. And I hadn't seen this movie or any other movie adaptations of it. And I really liked the show a lot. I thought it was awesome. And going backwards from that and watching this movie, which I assume is more closely based on the book, going from like a 9-hour thing to like a 2-hour thing, I was like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, the guys who made Bly Manor, that's impressive. They like turned it into a whole new thing and like fleshed out all the stuff that's like not even there and everything. That's really cool.
Was the TV show as ambiguous as the movie in the book? Because in the book,
No, not at all.
Like the original movie, it was like you never know if she's seeing ghosts or if she's crazy. Or...
Right. In fact, I was going into it with the full understanding, like, oh, of course, there's ghosts. There's ghosts and they're possessing people and stuff. Because that's, the show is very overt about that. But then after a while, I'm like, oh, wait a minute, she might be nuts. Oh
yeah.
my God. Wait a minute. That was really cool. That ending is crazy too. Anyway, we won't spoil anything, but check out both The Innocents and if you want to agree with me and Pete's wife, you should check out the Haunting of Bly Manor and
read
also
the
the Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
And read Turn of the Screw.
Yeah. And vote.
Yes.
And vote. Don't forget to vote. There's plenty of good TV and you got time for it, but also
for our U.S. audience anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Or hey, anybody wants to send in a ballot from any place, just do what you can do. I voted already. Did you guys
Tom,
vote already?
You're gonna have cries of voter fraud raining.
Yeah. Don't send
the
it
darn
about
Indiana Jones minute. They blew it for everybody.
I know.
All right. Well, we should thank people. We should thank people and throw these little bits of audio candy into their bags. I got a tube, by the way. I'm doing the tube thing. We're doing the tube thing where you send the candy down the tube, which I love because it keeps everybody 6 feet away and it keeps like the sticky fingered grubby monsters from like taking a fistful. You're like, just take one or two. And they like just pile it into their pockets and into their face. Like they're eating it without even unwrapping it. They're just shoveling it in their face. Like, guys, I got 3 bags of stuff. That's got to last me all night.
You also have
Please
to come
don't
up
be
with all the platitudes. Like, oh, that's a really cute cowboy costume, little Johnny.
Can't quite see it from here, but I'm sure it's good. Great.
Wait, what did you get?
What candy?
Yeah, you got an apple.
Yeah, I got an apple, a toothbrush, some
razor
floss.
blade.
Yes, a razor blade, and a little holy cards. No, I got 3 identical bags of. I don't kid around with like Smarties or any of that stuff anymore because it's always the stuff. Like Sam right now in the kitchen has a box of like stuff from last year that he never got to because it's like you lose steam and you're like, do I really need a Smarties or a Now and Later? Do I really need like a Starburst? Like all those things I don't go for. I just get the big bags with like a mix of like Twix and Milky Way and peanut butter cups and like all the chocolate based stuff.
Yeah.
The stuff
And
that's actually
you get the little
really
ones,
good.
the fun size.
The fun size because it's fun. It's a time of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the average number of calories is in a bag of trick or treats that a kid comes home with?
Oh,
Ooh,
wow.
what?
That's a great question.
It's between 3,500 and 7,000.
That's amazing.
I believe, I could see it.
That's actually less than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
That is. 7,000 is more tipping the scale. I mean, that makes
7,000.
Yeah, but if you have like a fun size Snickers, it's probably 200 calories.
Mm-hmm.
Like
you
the
can taste
fun
every single one of them.
Yeah. And I noticed like a thing of Reese's peanut butter cups, if you just go and get the regular one at the store, they're 200 calories. So that means one of those is 100 calories.
Yeah.
That's math.
Yeah.
Just good
You know what's
old-fashioned
weird
math.
is they do, I don't know, it's kind of like how the internet is now, where there's just a potpourri. You have one brand like Reese's Peanut Butter Cup. And you go, sure, it's simple. It's a mainstay. It's American, a staple of American candy.
Mhm.
And then it's like they make 56 different versions of them, and they're
Yeah.
crazy. I just go up to 7-Eleven. They have the regular one. They have the white chocolate one. They have, and I'm not making this up, they have the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup that comes with Reese's Pieces inside.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen that, yeah.
It's
Wow.
like the Russian doll one. They got
Kit Kat is doing that too. Kit Kat has been coming out with all sorts of crazy. Like Sam and I were at the Walgreens, and we're like, he got like a treat, and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be Halloween in a week. Don't go nuts with treat. And so like he picked something out, but then like the impulse buy thing, they had apple pie flavored Kit Kat, and I'm like, just go get one, Sam. We need that.
Nuts.
We need to have that.
Really?
Go get that. Yeah, and it was fantastic.
Weird. They're
It's
trying
exactly
to
what you wanted it to be.
They're exploiting fall.
They're turning the beauty of nature into saccharine and other just undeniably delicious slow death.
Yep.
Our friend
Yep.
Neil is bristling right now, by the way. He hates when people say fall, I think.
Oh, what's that,
really?
autumn?
Is that an American thing?
I think it's an American thing, but I don't know.
Okay.
Huh.
Is that literally because the leaves are falling out of the trees?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Like
Fall.
Johnny Says What He Sees season?
Fall.
Fall. Okay, we want to thank people. We want to thank beautiful people like 2-1 Beckett. I almost messed that up.
Hey,
2-1
yes.
Beckett. Thank you, 2-1 Beckett. And Andrew with 2 A's and Temba, their arms open in this season of brotherly love and candy. We also want to thank ABCD Tom. That's me, ABCD TOM. We're having fun over there on the Star Trek show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's good. Check it out. ABCD TOS. Original Star Trek. Very good.
Nice.
Airport says we all need more Banachek in our lives on Amazon Prime. Jim O'Kane has been. There's been like a lot of Columbo talk on the Listeners Crusade over on Facebook, and yeah, Jim was pointing out that I guess Columbo, like in the old days, it was like mystery movie, like the ABC mystery movie or whatever, and it would rotate between like Banachek and Columbo and like McLeod and Macmillan and Wife or something. And Jim was singing the praises of Banachek, so maybe I'll check out a Banachek. We'll see.
I've never even heard of Banachek.
With George Papard, pre-A team, post Breakfast at Tiffany's. We also want to thank Brady, and we want to thank. Oh, and I should say, oh my God, Speaking of Columbo, Joe Dater posted his amazing New Yorker piece that he did about Columbo, and it brought songs to my heart and a tear to my eye.
Yeah, that was
fantastic.
incredible.
That was
Check that
really amazing.
We also want to thank Brent from the Lars family homestead. Sad Bill. That is sad. We also want to thank Brian, and bumping into Eddie Van Halen at a 7-Eleven is no need for alarm. I assume there are going to be a lot of Eddie Van Halen costumes, but how many of them, Jerry, are going to be, the part of their thing will be like a couple of frozen burritos and a couple of bottles of wine and whatever else he was buying at that
Slim
7-Eleven.
Jims.
Slim Jims.
Slim Jims. Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Do it all the way. We also want to thank Carson. And Chewy has a barrow in the marketplace. Mala is the singer in a band. Speaking of the holiday special.
Yeah.
And we want to thank Chris Go Indiana Jones Minute.
Hey.
And we want to thank Cubs fan and Dan. And Darth Patreonus gives us a topic. Thriller, both song and video, discuss. That's easy. I am not a fan of the song Thriller, and there's maybe 5 Michael Jacksons, maybe 3 Michael Jackson songs that I really like, and that's not one of them. But the video was a lot of fun and very cool. And if you were cool enough, like as a kid, to have seen American Werewolf in London, you could like lord it over your friends, like, well, that's actually effects that they used from the movie American Werewolf in London that John Landis also did.
It was a
huge
cool deal that John Landis.
Yeah, like a movie director.
Yeah, a movie director. Yeah, I
Didn't
remember
Eddie Van Halen play on it?
He played on Beat It.
That was Beat It. Yeah.
Oh, Beat It.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is one of the songs that I like.
Yeah, it's an incredible song, and it was a great video too. Even though I don't know how it held up over time, but it's a great video. If you know that's Eddie Van Halen,
Mhm.
or even if somebody says listen to that guitar solo, you're like, there's no question. That sounds like a Van Halen guitar solo.
I'll take your word for it. I don't know music.
Oh
But
no, you
yes.
don't have to know music.
Okay.
There was much ado about Thriller.
Oh yeah.
There would, you know
I mean,
what?
even
Back
just the
when
fact that it was long, the fact that it
Yes.
was longer than the
Yeah.
song was like broke people's brains.
It was
I
also
don't
like
know.
a movie. It was like
It
watching a
probab-
little short movie.
It probably was one
it
of
totally
those
was.
things that like came out like, there was probably like advertisements like a month before, and it was like debuting at 8 p.m. And it was like,
Yeah,
I wonder, did it debut on MTV?
it must have.
I mean, I
would
wouldn't be
think.
surprised if it debuted on like ABC or something.
Launched
Carnegie
to
Hall.
great anticipation on MTV.
Wait, what? Oh, is that what was it like a thing?
That's
That's what Wikipedia says.
what it
Oh,
says.
okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I liked it because I was swept up in, I was 12 or whatever, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, it was like the thing. It was like the thing to do and the thing to watch. And so
Yeah.
I liked it, and I'm kind of with you. I probably wanted to like it more than I actually really liked it. It's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Vincent
No.
Price in it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know who
that's
designed the
randomly
costumes
funny.
in it?
Who?
Deborah Nadoolman.
Oh, our buddy.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost
She
Ark
did
costume
Raiders.
designer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
She's
actually,
Mrs. John Landis.
Yeah.
speaking of Michael Jackson, I owned the Gretsch drum set that J.R. Robinson used to record Off the Wall.
Oh,
And,
really?
yeah.
Wow.
Obviously the pretty big record, and we sold it to the Hard Rock.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have it now.
How do they authenticate stuff like that?
Well,
Yeah.
because I know J.R. Robinson. I was like, hey, man.
All right, that would do it. Yeah.
He's
Sign
like,
here.
yeah, man, here's my Gretsch kit. I used on all, a lot of
There it
records.
is.
Michael
I'm looking
Jackson's
all
Off
over
the
that
Wall. Yeah.
Can you sell the drum kit he played on Off the Wall to like 10 different people, and each one of them? Oh yeah, I got my buddy JR here. Oh yeah, that's
Give him a
mine.
cut
Oh,
right
my
off the
buddy.
top.
No, we didn't. We did it on the Up and Up. It's at the Hard Rock. Yeah. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a great kit. It's like a 70s Gretsch kit. It was a great story. He said it was like his first, I think one of his first kits that he bought after he I think maybe he graduated from college or music school or something like that. And he came out and he was whatever in Los Angeles or wherever, I think, and they recorded. I don't know if the specifics, but he was, it was one of it was like one of his first great kits, his first really nice kit that he got, and he's a big session guy, and it was interesting. I mean, it became an iconic kit, obviously.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And yeah, he and I Wonder Twins powers activate.
Form
He's a great
of
guy. He's a great,
Sailed to the Hard
amazing
Rock.
drummer and a nice guy.
Nice.
Awesome. Doesn't happen that often.
No, two usually mutually
Those drummers
exclusive
are
things.
total a-holes.
It's true.
Look no further than Phil Collins. Anyway, we also want to thank Dave and Death Star. We're gonna die right now. And we also want to thank Guy Wearing Headphones and Doris and Doug and Earth, Windu, and Fire.
That's good.
That's good. We also want to thank Eric and Fables of Faubus and Febo and Father David and you guys are not going to get this. Somebody here is George Leroy Tirebiter. Jim O'Kane and the guy who wrote this and me are the only people laughing right now. That's from the Firesign Theater, which Jerry knows that I'm into, but he doesn't know what it is at all. George Leroy Tirebiter. Bless you, sir, and thank you. Sorry, I read your whole name. We also want to thank Hillary and Indy 5. James Mangold has not accepted my LinkedIn request. Oh, that's too bad.
Come on.
Just keep pinging him until
Yeah.
you're blocked.
Wait, yeah, exactly. Do a lot of people use LinkedIn?
I'm
Yeah.
on it and I get like messages from it and I never ever use it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at LinkedIn for years. But
I'm just curious. I'm
always get
not saying they
notifications.
don't. I'm just saying,
I think people do. I think
yeah,
Yeah.
you get
when you
jobs
need to.
and it,
Yeah.
I think people,
sure.
unlike us, who take their job seriously and have like ambition and stuff.
Well, that's fair enough.
Yeah. We also want to thank it's Jonathan.
Yeah.
And we want to thank Jasmine and Jay from Deep Blue Sea, the podcast,
Nice.
and Jeff and John and Joshua and Exorable Tash and Ken and Kevin and Lori and Mark. And Mark meeting you asks what rock supergroup is forming in the afterlife. Sorry, Pete.
Wow, that's a great question.
If there is some sort of band featuring David Bowie and Prince right now, that ain't bad.
And I'm going to say John Taylor from Duran Duran on bass.
Is he dead?
No.
Oh,
Sorry.
all right. You're just thinking supergroups.
Yeah, I was just thinking supergroups. Okay, so Jaco Pastorius. Although
Wow.
I don't know if that would work so much with with David Bowie and Prince and
I know it is. I mean,
Yeah, it's kinda
saying
weird.
it sounds cool, but then I wonder what it would actually be like.
See, that's the thing. There's a place here, the Baked Potato in Los Angeles, famous club where some of the greats play, all sorts of incredible talent and some of the best musicians you will ever hear.
Mhm.
And from super groups, incredible groups. And what's really, really interesting is sometimes you will see who's playing that night on the marquee, and it's always great. But if you go, sometimes you get like 4 or 5 people who are just, titans of the instrument. But when they all get together, it's like
Yeah.
a B plus.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's I can't. It's
Because a lot of what makes a band is how they mesh together. Like
yes.
Yeah.
It's not that they're all individually amazing, and
Yeah.
which they are, but that's not sometimes how it works.
right.
It's like when everybody
Right.
was on stage for a tribute to George Harrison at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and it's like everybody is playing at once.
Yeah.
It's like, Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne, whatever, and every single guy who's ever played a guitar is up on stage. You're like, this is okay, all right.
Well, imagine it's like
I
Wonder
guess.
Twin Powers, but there's like 28 fists coming.
Yeah,
together.
and you can't decide what to transmit.
Yeah,
it
and
into.
you're like, I'm going to be a monkey glacier, apple tree, dolphin.
Why am I a bucket?
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you guys didn't even. Oh.
It's just kind of like, and it's just, I say, it's like, is the sum greater than the parts? And sometimes the answer is no. Sometimes the parts are greater than the sum.
All that said, I would like to hear what would come out of a collaboration between Ad Rock from the Beastie Boys and Eddie Van Halen. That sounds like something that I think could work and happen.
Sure.
So there, work on that.
I'd actually like
Everybody
to hear,
say your prayers and make that happen.
You have to be careful what you wish for, but maybe
yes.
like Eddie Van Halen and like Miles Davis, or because
Miles would totally do that.
Miles Davis was going to work with Jimi Hendrix right before Hendrix passed away, so that I think they had plans to record together or do something like that. Would have been really interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, can I say something really nice and positive and life affirming?
Of course.
I just realized as we're talking about this that my dream supergroup has already happened here on this earth, and it worked. And it was exactly the sort of thing where like, okay, you can say that, but it's not gonna. How would that even work? Not Chicago.
Neil Young
When
and Pearl Jam?
no, stop it. When see, that's what's funny? Did you just say Neil Young and Pearl Jam?
I sure did.
That's actually really funny because when that album was announced, Glitter Ball, is that what it's called? Yeah, Mirror Ball. That's what it's called. It's a really good record, but I was dreading it because I couldn't give two poops about Pearl Jam. I was like, why is he getting together with Pearl? But anyway, that's not the answer. But the half of the answer is Neil Young when he performed My Hey Hey with Devo. And it's the Devo version of that song, and it's like Boogie Boy singing, and it's the like, gun to my head, it's the greatest musical event that has ever happened. And I'm going to post it on the thing and nobody's going to care except for me. And it's great.
Hmm.
So people don't have to die to make great things like this happen.
There you go.
Yeah. See, Earth can be nice, everybody. There's still hope out there. Neil Young is probably dying as I'm saying this. That's so awful. That's so sad. We also want to thank Matt and Matthew and Michael and Mom to Remy and Drew and Moon Sophie Ego
Mm.
and Natalie and Natsuki Best Doki. And Neil asks Pete, how does your garage fit with your mild anxiety disorder? Wow. Not even sure what that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we moved into our place, I think 3 years ago, almost exactly 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And much of what we moved with is still in boxes in the garage.
Oh.
right.
Yeah, I mean, most of our stuff is not, but Amy's father passed away like 5 years ago, and she has a ton of stuff from his house. And so the garage is a bit disorderly.
I've seen your garage.
Yeah, but
Awful.
I saw
It's much better than it was when you saw it, Tom.
I saw the garage in
I
your
don't
old
remember it
place.
badly.
It was kind of the same.
Yeah.
But that's, you know what? Okay.
That's what garages are for.
Yeah. Are you supposed to feel bad or be embarrassed by your attic or your garage?
Yeah.
I do.
I don't like the way Neil's going with this. This is a little, aggressive. Leave Pete alone.
What is your garage for? I mean, it's a carport.
Yeah, your
and
car
where
fits in there.
If you're in the Midwest, it's where you keep your lawnmower.
Yeah. I think you're all right, Pete. You're doing okay.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
fine.
What are you going to do? Rent a storage space
Yeah.
so that you can have a tidy garage?
No, the nice thing is I've cleaned most of it, so it's now, and our garage is huge because it's just the whole underneath of the house. So it's
Yeah.
like
See,
I can play
you-
hockey.
you're-
If I played
you're-
hockey, I could play hockey in there.
That's awesome. You're blessed with that big space, that great big garage.
Yep.
And
I
Neil's
don't have
making
a
you feel
car,
bad
so-
because you're using
yeah.
it.
It's so weird when you're from the
Brutal.
Midwest, but then you move to California. There's like no basements and no attics.
Yeah.
Oh, that is weird.
It's really
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
why there's storage units everywhere. You're like, well, where do you put the Christmas ornaments?
right. I'm just going to access this twice a year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all
Yeah.
sorts of stuff. You just can't put stuff places.
Yeah.
Yep. We've actually
Um,
we got a big earthquake preparedness, like election mayhem preparedness kit going too.
Oh,
In your
really?
garage?
Like, yeah, Amy's gotten really into like, oh, we got to be ready for the earthquake. So we've
What's
got,
the
like,
coolest thing you have
water.
in there?
I don't know. Amy put it all together.
Like an entire bomb shelter?
Like an
No,
It's
it's
like
all
in
like,
there. It's like
got
add
a
water.
Frogger.
yeah.
yeah.
We've got like 5 of those radios that you just crank and you can listen to the radio, like emergency
nice.
radios.
That's cool. That's all you
Yeah.
need, really.
That and
You're all
water.
set.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. Well, don't feel bad about your garage. I think it's beautiful and just stop it, Neil. Stop
I
it.
feel much less bad than I did when Neil saw it. So
Oh, good. Okay.
yeah, I'm working on my way to feeling sort of mediocre about it.
All right. That's progress.
Yeah.
We also want to thank Nicholas and none but Nunbelievable and Orange Bee Cooper and Patrick and Pella and Pork Snorter House and Runebot Techno Union Rep and Sagacious Crumb and Sasha and Scott Roseanne. Hey, Scott.
Hey.
And Sean and Steve and Stina and Sully Baseball. We have to commend Sully for, I think you guys both saw it in the Listeners Crusade. He had written a while ago, like ages ago, about the idea. I'm going to forget what it is now. No, that Leia was Ben's daughter
Oh yeah.
and she was the other. And you could do, if you just do that, it fixes almost everything. With
Yeah.
very little complications
Yeah.
down the road. Luke
I
can
still-
still be in
that's-
love with her. It's not weird.
That still makes it too small a universe for my taste.
It,
though.
it
Oh,
does
sure.
make it a
But, I
little
mean, that's
Falcon
kinda-
crest.
If
Yeah.
you're just with Star Wars, though, and maybe The Empire Strikes Back and maybe Return of the Jedi, just like that, because I mean, you're kind of dealing with those characters anyway. Like that's kind of what those movies are about, is just that like small group of characters. Like maybe that's okay. I don't know.
Mm.
But I hear what you're saying. But I like it. It's better than what we got.
Yeah, no, it is much better.
For the love of God. We also want to thank Tears for Veers and the Carlisles and the Wilder Ride and the Sack News and Tierney, aka One Steel Sister.
Yeah.
By the way,
And
the Sack
Tim-
News and I had a ton of fun with
Yeah.
our good buddy Sean German and his brother Brian German. Our good buddy Brian German also. We talked about one of my favorite movies, which is generally, I think, general consensus is it's one of the worst movies of all time, but I unabashedly love it. Kind of like the holiday special, Xanadu.
Oh yeah.
I still have never seen Xanadu.
Yeah.
Oh man,
And I really need
it's
to.
delightful, but it's
I love the song.
It's weird. Yeah.
I believe it. He's starting up Time Bandits Minute.
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Get your name
gosh,
in, Jerry.
that
Throw
would
your name in the hat.
blow my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'd feel about that. That's a really interesting movie and kind of scary. We've talked about it.
It
So
is.
we won't go into
yeah.
it. But wow.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, you got to see that, Pete.
Wow, yeah.
You might hate it, but it's great.
Yeah, man.
can say that about a lot of
it's uneasy.
Mm.
It is. Yeah.
That's
It's
just what I'm
not
looking
it's not
for in a
romp.
movie right now.
Yeah. You want something that should be fun, but leaves you kind of queasy and kind of, oh no, is everything ever going to be okay?
But of course, it's exceptionally well done.
Yeah. Yeah. I recommend it. We also want to thank Tim and Timmy Bricks, period. And Tom, go to Cat and Sean.org/jokes. Oh, okay. Hang on a second.
There it is.
That's serious. Wait a
That's
minute.
our friend Sean German from
That
the
is our
Next
friend
Scene
Sean
podcast.
German.
Yeah.
Wait, what? I already forget what I said. Cat and Sean.org. Okay. None of this will be cut out. Cat and Sean.org/jokes. Is that what he said? Yeah, okay, hang on. Beep. Some of this will be cut out. Beep. Site cannot be reached. Wait, cat. Oh, I typed it wrong. That'll
there.
be cut out.
Okay, here's one for you.
Well, you
Jerry.
got there? Oh, okay. Wait, I want to see. Don't spoil. Oh my God, that's great. Oh, this is great. Okay, you go ahead, Pete.
Jerry, what did Jane say when she saw the elephants?
What did who say?
Jane.
Say when she saw the elephant. It's going to be something about dog and Tarzan in his trunk.
I'll let you read it. The answer, Tom.
She said, "Oh, look at those grapes," because she was colorblind. Was it last week we had the joke like, what was it? What's the difference between a elephant and a grape or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the answer is just that grapes are purple.
Well, he's got a follow up here. If you're
does.
colorblind, Gerald, if you're colorblind, how do you tell an elephant from a grape?
Oh my gosh. It feels like Time Bandits.
It is.
Well, how?
Jump around on it for a while. If you don't get any wine, it's an elephant.
That's how you do a Patreon name, everybody. Beautiful.
I like about it, you can jump around on the elephant and he's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how long do you jump around until you don't get some, like, how, it's not like you're waiting for a result. You're like waiting for not a result.
Yeah.
So it's
The
like,
elephant's not
I don't
really
know how
gonna
long it
notice.
takes to get wine out of a grape. So, I mean, I could be jumping here for a really long time. Maybe it just hasn't happened yet. I'm thinking about this too hard. We also want to thank Tom, and Trinko only listens long enough to hear his name read. Okay, then you won't
Yeah,
hear
get in
about... Yeah. You won't hear about Vibrant Visionaries with Heidi Bennett, nor will you hear about Wendy, or when y'all Nuggless has scratched with Pete, or Zaction, or
Hey.
Zax on, Zax off.
There we go.
Zax on, Zax off. Has anybody
what?
watched Cobra Kai on Netflix?
I have not. People keep saying that it's really good.
Okay. Well, I was just
I should
curious.
try it out.
Yeah.
My recommendations for this week are The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor. Don't listen to the naysayers, even though they're entitled to their opinions. And if I had read the story or seen other movie versions of Bly Manor first, maybe I would have the same opinion. But I didn't, so I like it. It's good. Thank you, everybody. Now we're going to talk about Star Wars some more.
Hey.
Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween!
Hey, I have a question from a minute or two ago. Just to be clear, we glossed over this. Ben gives Luke his father's most prized possession, and in return, Luke offers him a ride up the street to Anchorhead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you could say that Ben was giving Luke his own property, like it was Luke's anyway or something.
But it's his lightsaber.
Yeah.
I mean, for Luke, though, I don't know if that means anything yet.
No, I guess it...
Right.
So how did Ben get Darth Vader's lightsaber?
You have to watch...
no, stop. All right, forget that.
It wasn't Darth Vader's lightsaber. It was Luke's dad's lightsaber.
Yeah, Darth Vader killed Luke's dad.
Yeah.
Jerry, you're getting all mixed up.
Well, okay, fair enough. Did
And from this movie, we seem to get the impression that like Darth Vader is at least somewhat honorable, and Ben, maybe he came and brought it to Ben after he killed Anakin.
Oh, maybe.
Wow.
Oh, weird.
That's really interesting.
Or maybe that's how Anakin was so easily killed, is because he didn't have his lightsaber. Ben had it already.
That's really
Luke's dad.
That's hilarious. Like he goes to reach for it, he's like, "Damn it!"
Oops.
Thomas got a question about who can be a Jedi, like right at the very beginning of this scene. Unless you got more about.
Well, I did have a question about. That's a good question.
If anything about Aunt Beru you want to talk about, Jerry? Anything about the Tantive V4? Trying to get through this movie, dude.
No, is that like so? Jedi have a relationship with their lightsaber, like a very specific. Like, so is it a little bit like Harry Potter and the wand?
I don't know if we get that in this movie, though.
Yeah, I don't know if we do either.
It's just like a gun. It's just like this was your dad's sword.
Yeah, it's special because it was his dad's, not so much that.
But like everybody has a different colored one, you know?
No, not really. Luke and Ben both have blue.
Well, I guess Darth Maul
or yellow,
red.
depending on the packaging.
See, you're going on all these weird prequel things, Jer.
Jerry, you've changed.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, forget it.
They're just two colors of light. Well, there's yellow if you count the toy.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a robot in the desert, and that's it. And a big busted up sandcrawler.
Yeah, literally.
Why are you making me think of Darth Mauls and stuff?
The only thing I consider canon outside of this and Empire is the holiday special.
Yeah,
it's fine.
And any information we gleaned from toys.
Yeah.
Pete, you pay particular attention to the music in our movies, and in this Jawasaker, is this the saddest music in the movie?
Oh, that's a good question.
That is a good question.
It might be.
And I'll go one further. Is this the saddest scene in the movie? The Jawasaker.
It depends on how you feel about Jawas, I guess.
They don't seem to treat it as being sad.
3PO's probably delighted secretly. He's like, yeah, take that.
That'll come up in a minute. I've got questions about that,
I know.
But see, the Jawa, the thing that I'm curious about is the Jawas all look super thin on the ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering, are they Jedis? Like, do they disappear? Like, is that why they wear the cloaks?
Or they're just dissolve if they're out in the sun for too long, not moving around.
They do. No, I know what you're saying.
I feel like this scene, I mean, it's sad for us, but I feel like, I don't know. Ben doesn't seem like he's all that broken up.
Yeah, there's mostly just like a oh shucks, what happened here
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing.
Look at
Not
these
like,
guys.
Well, I
oh,
think
the-
Ben, you know what,
humanity.
Ben, what we see from Ben moving forward, he, it's like all of a sudden he's like a virus. They're dormant until,
Yeah.
and then I feel like he now for the rest of the movie is animated. It's like he's been waiting, whatever, 17 years or however many years, 20 years for this. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden he comes alive. So everything is coming together for Ben. And it's now happening. So like he
Yeah.
doesn't really like, he comes across this and he's like, oh, of course. He's like, I'm going to ask these questions, but they're essentially rhetorical.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could amend "Hey dummy" to the beginning of each one.
Yeah.
Hey dummy, you shouldn't just take me to Anchorhead. You should actually come with me all the way because there's big stuff going on.
Right.
See,
Hey dummy, the Imperial troops did this.
there's one thing I very specifically did not want to do during this movie, but I feel like I have to in this scene just because it's so brilliant. And that is talk about something that they brought up on the Star Wars Minute, and if you haven't listened, it's an incredible podcast and you should absolutely listen to it. But they brought up a theory about this that blew my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think about it, and I still think it's the best thing that's come out of that podcast. And the theory was that Ben is the one who massacred the Jawas and killed Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru so that Luke would go with him. And it makes a lot more sense when you think about it that way.
It's very hard to poke any holes in that.
It is, and like there are several instances coming up where Ben's going to flat out lie, and he's. Yeah, it's a brilliant theory.
And you know what I like about that? That's a very like Greek mythology type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like a Greek god may do that or something, and just to get to get the hero on his way or to get him to do something or
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that he already knows that everyone's dead when Luke's like, oh, I can't go anywhere. I got to stay and do the harvest. And he's like, well, of course, you have to do what you think is right.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then, so when does he do? So between that moment and they get back,
I think he does it when Luke's driving out to find R2.
That's incredible.
Awesome. Wow.
Like
That's really
Ben's
funny.
just going to town, killing everybody. And he's
Well, and it's
fast.
kind of crazy because he says, Sand people always ride single file to hide their numbers. And like he's very quick with the answers here.
Right.
And Imperial stormtroopers are the only ones who are so precise.
Yeah.
Like there's not a single
watch out
instance
for them from now on.
we ever see again or any time where they're precise.
Hey, is that single file thing? Is that a real thing in any culture or anything? Because as a kid, I was like, "Oh my god, that's smart!
That's so brilliant!"
really
but then I
smart.
thought about it.
I think that's in old westerns. I'm
Sounds
imagining
like it would be,
you're looking out the sand crawler, and it's like, "Hey, who's out there?" And you're like, "Oh, don't worry about it. It's just one sand person."
If you just look from this one angle, it's one guy.
You're just looking out, and you're like, I mean, that's what, like, I'm imagining the same people sitting around the campfire, like, now tomorrow we're gonna go raid the sand.
I'm tallest, so I'll go in front.
Yeah, exactly. It's as if there's no precipices around, their landscape where you could see that single file is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Since they just live where everybody's on a flat earth.
I never thought of that.
Well, also,
I think it's mostly about the tracks they leave behind, Jerry.
Yeah.
That's what the single file.
But how did the stormtroopers get banthas to begin with? Like they ride dewbacks, but we never see them ride banthas. Like
God, that's a good question.
Like, do they have their own banthas also, or do they steal the sand?
Or did they?
Banthas?
Yeah, did they like raid the Sand People's village or whatever?
Or just pay some sand people.
Or just pay them?
Yeah.
But so here's my question. Why is this important at all to frame the Sand People?
Yeah, why? There's no reason for the stormtroopers to have to do
No
that.
reason at all. Do
Yeah.
you think that
Yeah.
the stormtroopers and Darth Vader care at all?
Oh no!
Yeah, if
What if it causes stir in town?
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, they just have a ship that's like a third the size of the planet hovering over the planet.
and they're about to blow up an entire planet. But
Yeah.
let's not let anyone know we're going to kill these guys that nobody likes.
Yeah, and what's even stranger, they're like, no, but we were thought to, we're meant to think it was the Sand People, and you're like, well, dude, they've been living on Tatooine for, I don't know, 30, 40 years. Like, they're gonna know what the Sand People. That's their next door neighbor.
Yeah.
That's like they borrow a cup
Yeah.
of sugar
Yeah.
from the Sand People.
Yeah, Frank would
The
never
only
have
way-
killed those guys.
The only way that any of this makes sense is if it was all just Ben.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
Ben is specifically making it look like stormtroopers did it.
That's
Yeah.
totally true. And he's really quick with all these answers. Like, no, it said no. And
Yeah.
even Luke picks up on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
So why are they trying to fool him? To make
in
them
Luke-
think that that they're not.
None of it makes sense.
Are they? Is it?
It is
So are they
weird.
framing the Sand People to make? I guess to make it look like they're not looking
for
for
Oh, wait
the
a minute.
droids?
I don't think they are. No, wait, they're not trying.
But
they're not trying to fool
everybody
anybody.
knows
Luke
they're
is just
looking for
being
the
stupid.
droids.
Luke is misinterpreting it. Like, Luke is like, well, okay, they did leave gaffy sticks and
No,
stuff.
he says,
and
but
they
we're
did use
meant to
banthas.
think it was them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And then Luke asks him, why would Imperial, like Luke's kind of gets wise and he's like, why would they want to do that? And Ben never answers the question.
Yeah.
Well, no, but they show you this like who to do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's comical.
It
Can I
is
just say though
almost,
that moment is one of the most poignant moments in the movie for me, and I think it's one of the reasons I love Luke so much is I think Luke is genuinely a kind person.
Mhm.
Is when he says that he looks over at the two robots,
Yeah.
and it slowly dawns on him that they're looking for the two robots, and
Mhm.
in spite of the fact that basically these two robots got his aunt and uncle killed, he never once holds a grudge against them.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't
Like
blame
he's,
them.
it
Yeah.
seems like he's a
they're-
genuinely good, kind-hearted guy.
Yeah. He sees them for the pawns they are.
He also, I mean, the tumblers are turning too.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah, which I'll
Mhm.
get to in a minute here, but he's on a. He maybe isn't fired off yet, but he's aimed. His
Yeah.
trajectory, like his trajectory is aimed. You know what I mean?
but
And I think that's why
it seems like it points to Ben aimed him.
Ben does everything and be like, I wonder what your aunt and uncle are doing right now.
Yeah.
Is lunch ready yet? You better go check.
What's interesting, he says, "Wait, Luke, it's too dangerous," and then
But
I
he
always
doesn't make any move to stop him.
Wait, no, don't.
Wait, please,
yeah.
no,
and what's really
please.
weird is what if Luke goes, "Oh, you're right."
Never mind.
Yeah, then Luke just drops him off at Anchorhead and goes back home.
Yeah.
Or wouldn't you want to go? Like, wouldn't you maybe want to go? Wouldn't you say to Ben, like, we got to get back home?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Ben, like Luke, barely knows this old dude.
Yeah, it's true. I
Well, he
like,
knew
you know,
his dad, and that's
what do you
huge to
think
him.
about the way he says home?
Home.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
This is one of my favorite scenes in the movie too. When he, like, the
Yeah.
sense of dread as he's racing along in the land speeder when he
It's
jumps in.
creepy. You know
Yeah.
what
It's amazing.
Yeah,
and
it is.
that point of view shot from the dashboard, like when he pulls up in front of the burning homestead, like
Yeah.
it's incredible.
For some reason, this is the moment I think of whenever I think of Star Wars. Like, what if Star Wars had just been Star Wars and there'd never been another
Mhm.
movie, and that we just think of it as like this awesome science fiction movie that came out in the 70s out of nowhere by the super awesome
Yeah.
guy, George Lucas.
And it's a complete Western. Like, this is a scene right out of a
Yeah,
Western, and
it
there's a
is.
lot
Yeah.
more coming up that are right out of a Western.
This scene with Uncle Blowin and Aunt Barbecue. You know, I will say this was one of the first times in my life that I felt injustice and evil in the world.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm being
Yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was probably
you.
I was 5, And, I saw this, I think, 52 times in the theater between like 1977 and 80 or something like that. And this scene was so disturbing
Mhm.
as like I felt like I knew Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, and
Mm-hmm.
it was so unfair. I couldn't
Yeah.
possibly imagine why they would like not only assault them but kill them. And not only
Mhm.
kill them, but it's like they're charred.
Yeah.
You see burning flesh.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like one of them, I don't know if it's barbecue or blowing, but one of them is arched over like a bunch of, just sort of like debris, like in an
Yeah.
agonizing pose. And it blew my mind. I never thought that they killed them and then burned them. I always thought that they just
Yeah,
burned
I
them.
thought they
Oh,
did
wow,
too.
yeah.
Yes,
me too.
which is so medieval.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like their posture seems to indicate that they burn them alive.
Like yes,
Yeah.
like one of it looks like maybe it's Uncle Owen. It's like he runs up from the stairs, like from the kitchen or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
You just can't
immediately
make it.
lit on fire and incinerated.
Oof.
And it's awful. His toe is on the last step.
Yeah.
And you're
Yeah.
just like this. I mean, it was like I think that was it for me. I was just like, I can't believe the evil that exists.
Mhm.
And it's weird how much more powerful this is than a whole planet blowing up. Like this is
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we knew those two. It's two people,
Yeah.
but we knew them.
Is
And
this
Yeah,
the
we
guy was
knew
kind
them.
of a grouch, but
Yeah.
she was all super
Yeah.
sweet and nice, and
and is
they
this the
didn't
most
deserve that.
gruesome scene in all of the Star Wars movies?
That's a great question.
Like all 3 Star Wars movies or all
Yeah.
20
No,
Star
all,
Wars
all
yeah,
3
movies?
Star Wars movies.
All 3 or all 12 either. Like I don't remember a scene this. There are 2 scenes. There's this and the arm coming up, and both of
Yeah.
those seem very bloody and.
No, the arm is nothing compared to this. This is a whole
No, I agree,
nother
but
level.
both of them seem a little bit hard edged and gritty for the other Star Wars movies that come
Right.
later.
No,
was the
this
70s.
to me, this is much grittier and much darker. And this was
Yeah.
one of the hardest scenes for me to watch as a kid.
Yeah.
Even recently, there's also like when you see them, there's an enormous musical strike that's
Yeah,
like right
yeah.
out of Holst the Planets, like Mars, the bringer of
Yeah.
war. It's just like daw, and it's
Right.
just like, oh my god, it peals of death.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
immediately followed by, and I'm not a music nerd at all. I just said earlier I don't know music. I don't know anything about music, but I keep seeing on the internet, and I don't hear Star Wars nerds talking about this, even though it's all over the internet. Like people like dissecting this like in a musical and a film way. You get the 4 DS E-ray notes, the Gregorian chant
Oh,
from like
yeah.
the 13th century.
Yeah.
Da, da, da. You get that right before you cut to the TIE fighters, and they
That's
use
yeah.
It's super cool. Like
Yeah, that's-
I'll
I
post a
never thought
video
about
about it
that.
that I
Yeah.
found about it. Like this
Oh, that's
guy who
awesome.
like tracks it and all like these, like it's in The Shining, it's in Close Encounters,
That's
it's in
awesome.
Crystal Skull. It's like in Crystal
Wow.
Skull when they toss Indy to the ground when they pull him out of the trunk.
Oh my god!
It's like these 4 notes that are from this Gregorian chant from the 13th century, and it was
awesome.
used for funeral masses. And you see it all the time in movies when it's either just like just simple dread or death or like
Yeah.
a turning point for a hero or something like that. It's like always there. Yeah.
It's like the
Exactly.
Wilhelm.
Yeah.
It is. It's like the Wilhelm of the universe. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But what drives me, and we keep saying this, we weren't going to talk about the prequels or the sequels, but in The Force Awakens, this is what I think about this, and I'm like, there's nothing good about that movie. This moment is so stupid that there's nothing good about that movie because this is in it. When there's like the pivotal moment, I guess, when she and Rey and Ben Solo are going at it, and she had like she's holding her, they're fighting in the snowy forest, and she's got her lightsaber, and she kind of like centers. It's a nice moment, but like the musical cue is exactly this. It is lifted from this
wow.
scene. It's not just another DSE Ray thing. It is this moment. And in the theater, I'm like, why am I thinking about Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru right now?
Oh.
I know Star Wars. This is Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru being killed. And now I'm going to go watch TIE Fighters and they're
Wow.
going to interrogate Princess Leia.
Wow.
Wow.
Like, why would they do that to me? Why would they put,
Wow. I never
It's like-
picked up on that.
it's exactly the same moment. It's like they
Wow.
lifted the soundtrack from Star Wars. It's
Hmm.
like, it's like, you say, oh, it's a different, it's a motif. It's like, no, it's like putting Marion's theme over a scene with Willie or something. It's like, you're not supposed to do that. That doesn't work. Those are different
Interesting.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
This is
I
also
here.
something we don't see in other movies very much. I guess maybe we do in the sequels. But like lasers don't set things on fire. Like someone
That's
set
true.
this place on fire. Like someone,
Yeah.
like this
Yeah.
is gruesome. Like this isn't the way Star Wars usually goes or Stormtrooper. Like
Well,
Stormtrooper killing people is usually very like sanitized.
It is, and there's
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
First of all, they slaughter the Jawas
Yeah.
for no reason, really. I mean, there's no,
Yeah.
and then they show up, and the droids aren't there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's like, they look around. I guess maybe they asked, like, where is Luke, and maybe they didn't
Yeah.
tell him. And so that's why they were, they didn't give Luke up or something like that.
Well, they're not looking for Luke. They're like specifically looking for the droids.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, they probably know that
I guess they got to
I
the.
mean, does Uncle? So okay, when Uncle Owen wakes up this morning, and he sees 400 stormtroopers or whatever is there, masked with
like
gaffy
5.
sticks. Yeah, it's probably like 5. He's like,
Why are you
hey,
writing
yeah,
banthas?
what's going on? And they're like, because Uncle Owen doesn't
Writing
know
banthas.
that R2 ran away.
That's true. Yeah.
Mm.
He thinks
So
they're out by the south line.
he
or the
probably
south-
thinks
Yeah.
that they're out by the south. Exactly. And so he's waking up and he's probably like, well, I don't know what you guys are doing here, but you're out of your mind. I don't know what you mean. Like
Yeah.
two droids with what?
Right.
Do you think Uncle Owen told him he was out on the South Ridge and they went the wrong way?
They're there now while Luke
Yeah,
is
they're like-
at the
Yeah.
homestead? Yeah.
Yeah.
That could be. Does Luke find gaffy sticks here too? And bantha tracks side by side? Like, are they like do the troopers try to make this look like the Sand People too?
I have no idea. But what I
Maybe
mean,
like
who's
a huge uprising against the Sand People, and they're like, "What? What? We didn't do anything."
well,
we
so
didn't
was
kill
it?
this guy? We were
You know,
very,
was it-
very
I
lightly
wanna-
hit him.
Is
Ook,
it literally just the crew that's like, look, sir, droids?
Yeah, maybe.
that who it
I don't know.
is?
You get the sense that there's a bunch of people down there. Well, although okay,
Yeah.
Vader says send a detachment down to retrieve them. That could be like 10 guys or something who we
Yeah.
see. Look
So
through
why
droids.
did they go
But
hog
then they're all like in
bananas
Mos
nuts?
Eisley and everything.
Just the most
Yeah.
gruesome. Because they're
Yeah.
Mos Eisley, but they're they're unbelievably civil in
Yeah,
Mos
they
Eisley. That's what.
Yeah.
Not like burning Mos Eisley. To
No, they
Yeah.
just
Yeah, that's a very good point.
they're
Yeah.
I mean, in this they're like uncharacteristically, cordial in
Yeah.
Mos Eisley.
right.
I don't know.
That
There's
is weird.
something. There is something. Pete, I think this is the most gruesome scene for me, for
Yeah.
sure. And what's really,
For me
really
too.
interesting here is what do we get from Luke? So Pete, what is the emotion that comes here?
That's a great question. I can tell you what the
Mhm.
script says, but I don't know what I think that emotion is. He doesn't seem all that broken up about Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. I mean, he seems angry,
Yes. Well,
but he
that's
also
what I
seems
was
very
getting.
resolved.
I was
Yeah.
getting it. What you see here is he puts his head down and he raises his head back up and you hear the music and you're like, vengeance.
Yeah, this guy's going to go kick
Yeah.
some ass. It's
Yeah.
like outlaw Josie Wales.
Yes.
It's either that or finally. Mos Eisley, here I come.
Yeah, the season ends today.
Yeah.
No, I
Would this
mean
have been a
it's
good movie though if this were like an outlaw Josie Wales thing where Luke just goes to Mos Eisley and kicks the crap out of all the stormtroopers.
He just goes. That's
Right.
what it is.
You
No,
pushed me too far.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I mean, it's way Western. You get like he
Yeah,
comes
it
in-
is.
yeah,
It's
he
really
doesn't
Western.
get on his knees. He doesn't cry. He doesn't go through. You're like, dude, what about his bedroom? What
Yeah.
about
All
anything?
my stuff.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
what about
you're right.
My
Yeah.
T16.
just anything
Yeah,
at
that's
all?
those are great points.
Well,
Mhm.
and so what's interesting is I was going to say, is this the beginning and the first time that you truly see Luke's arc, which is vengeance?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, throughout the
Yeah.
movie, like his arc, arguably, one could argue, is vengeance. And like even in Empire, where he's just beating, or no, in Return of the Jedi, he's just beating Vader. He's just beating him
Mhm.
down with his lightsaber
Mhm.
over and over, and his hand comes off, and he's just like, it's like you see it here. He's like, and
And that's what
he's kind of like, he's admonished for that too. It's like it's Revenge of the Jedi, and you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
it's Return of the Jedi, and they're like, well, Luke gives in to the
Yeah.
hate. That's the whole thing. It's like,
Yeah.
don't give in to the hate, and it's like this moment, he snaps.
Well, and in the script, Lucas actually wrote, "Hate replaces fear, and a new resolve comes over him when he
Oh,
looks
wow.
at the remains."
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, like
Well-
that's exactly what you're saying is what Lucas
Yeah.
had in mind.
Well, he's literally like, I got to get back home.
Yeah.
I've got a vocab quiz. That happened. What? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. An hour ago.
Right.
Well, is Luke still in a state of shock by the end of this movie? Like, if this all takes place in like 2 days,
If that.
like,
yeah.
has he even processed what's happened to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru by the end of the movie?
He sure
or,
seems
like,
to
is-
be fine.
But yeah, like, is he
Yeah.
gonna,
Gotten
like
over everything.
after he's gonna get home, like he's gonna hug Princess Leia at the end, and he's gonna sit down and be like, "Oh God,
I need
like,
a
my
minute.
whole family's dead. Oh
Yeah.
man, my T6, everything." And he's just gonna like,
I'm gonna lock myself in my room for a week. Is that cool? Just put the food under the door. I'm good.
he's gonna spiral into despair at that point.
What's interesting
Yeah.
is how close he must have been to the edge. Like,
Yeah.
he's 99% get me the hell out of here. So much
Yeah.
that you can barbecue my aunt and uncle.
Right.
And
Yeah, how much of him is thinking like, oh my God, be careful what you wish for. Like, all I wanted was to get
Did I
out of
do
here.
this?
And now
Yeah.
look at this. Oh my God, they're charred to a cinder.
Yeah,
Like I didn't, I take it back.
it's interesting. He doesn't like call up his friends or anything though. He's like, "Hey, Cammy, I'll let you know I'm leaving town." Or
Yeah.
well, I
Free
think
homestead
I
for
think
anybody
you
who wants it.
see I think he's a one-dimensional character in a way, where he's kind of like, at the beginning you meet him, he's kind of innocent. He's a little nose to the grindstone with kind of like, he has a wistful, I can't wait to get out of here, but that's about it. And then now you see him and he just snaps and he's just like, I'm out of here. It's over. It's done. I'm going to it's like he snaps. He's like, I'm done. I'm leaving. I mean, he literally gets in the land speeder and turns right the hell around. He
Yeah.
just,
I don't think that's one dimensional. I think that actually is one of the things in all these movies that feels the most like real life.
well, I
Like,
just
I think
mean he
Mhm.
picks
That's the
an
kind of thing that a
emotion
person
and
would
he
do in
sticks
real
with,
life.
he
Yeah.
sticks
Yeah.
with that emotion it drives him.
But he's not like, I think especially now he's not thinking rationally. I think it becomes
Yeah.
harder to explain in later movies. But
TIE fighters.
that's a nice wipe. Like,
Yeah,
it's a
it
really
is.
good wipe.
It is.
It's
Yeah.
like the TIE fighters are like driving it or
Yeah.
swiping it against
Yeah,
across Luke.
yeah.
Tommy, I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is the Mind Probe a miniature Death Star? Like, I mean, is it
yes,
just
that's like the prototype for that's like the model that they showed at like the investors meetings and stuff. Like it's gonna have a cool thing. It's gonna be round, it'll be like dark and imposing. It might have a massive like 300,000 mile hypodermic needle sticking out of it. It's gonna be awesome.
they go to their version of the Tower of London lab. They're like, no, we need like something tortury, like a Mind Probe. And they're
Yeah.
like, you know what?
Yeah.
Can you make it like the Death Star just to keep it on brand?
Yeah. You know what's hysterical about that? I have a note here that I forgot all about until I was watching this just now. That the guards who are with Vader, I forget what they're called. They're like the Death Star commanders or something in the action figures, but I always, as a kid, I thought that they had those helmets shaped the way they are because they wanted to look like Darth Vader.
That's
Like
awesome.
they
That's
appreciated
awesome.
Darth Vader so much they just wanted to look as much like them as possible. So yeah, maybe this mind probe is like, the Death Star is cool. Let's stick with that.
Well, so
what
what
do you think's in
Old
the
Death Star
syringe?
that tortures people.
So, question for you then, Pete: how does it work?
That's what I don't. It doesn't seem like to me. It just looks like all it is a syringe, and then what's in the is it like bantha venom or like what's in the syringe? Is
Well,
it,
I
is it
was
like
wondering-
a truth serum?
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
Like we don't actually know. Like in the movie, I don't think we ever know that she's tortured. Like it could just be this is going to make her tell the truth. In the radio
Right.
drama,
The whole
it's hard to listen to because she's like tortured gleefully for several minutes.
for about 15 minutes it feels like.
Yeah,
It's just like
and she's just
15
like
minutes,
shrieking.
no,
and, yeah,
don't. Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
crazy.
really?
yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I guess it is like, and I don't even remember what's like, does he like inject her with something or
You never know.
in the radio
yeah.
drama? I don't
No.
know. I forget.
Oh yeah, I don't remember.
But she's in a kind of soupy mind place.
Yeah.
She's like, he's
Yeah.
kind of almost hypnoptizing her or something.
Yeah.
Trying to get secrets from her and stuff.
I always assumed it was like, if you don't tell us the truth, we're gonna poke you.
Yeah, we're gonna poke her with this really awkward. It looks.
Yeah, how
I
would
don't
that
know
even
how they would
poke her?
inject somebody with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Well,
there's-
does it fly? Does it like float up to them and then float into their arm?
I
but like
guess
even
so.
then, it's
Hold
like
still.
with the curvature of the orb, it seems like not much of the needle's actually going to stick. Like you're just going to get the very tip of the needle.
That's exactly what I keep picturing. Like, no, not quite. Hold,
It just seems like a really poor
tilt
design.
towards me. Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It was gonna fly. It had. Did you guys?
Or is it
notice
just like one of those dentist tables, and then like someone has to reach up and take the syringe off?
Yeah, that's just
Oh.
the caddy for the.
You
for
think it was just the?
syringe.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Well, you
They like
wouldn't
put
want
the
to
little bib on
Yeah.
her, and then
You wouldn't
Your
want it. It's like they
syringe,
had
sir.
that time where it's like the guard was walking down with the syringe and he tripped.
yeah.
Yeah. How do we avoid this in the future?
Yeah, no, we're just gonna have a mind probe caddy.
Speaking
It
of
floats,
tripped,
so we can't trip over anything.
I love that Darth Vader has to duck.
Yeah,
Oh,
big
And
time.
he does that, and I'm curious if that's like Marty's little jab, like to design every door so that Darth has to duck when he goes in, like just make him
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
The hallways all get increasingly smaller
Yeah.
and more narrow.
I wanted like
You know what's nice though that I never noticed before, like if they are torturing her, and I mean from the radio drama you gather that they are. I like that the ceiling is incredibly reminiscent of the ceiling when Han is tortured in Empire.
Yeah.
oh, I
It's
noticed
like a nice
that.
callback
Totally.
then.
Well,
Yeah.
so they build like there's a blueprint for prisons.
Right, yeah. Like
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
that's what a prison looks like.
That's what they
Like
and,
with
yeah.
some
and, you know.
bars and like yeah.
And I wondered, so
Like an
like, does the
exposed
Death
toilet.
Star have a prison library? Like who else? Who else
Yeah, but
is
she
in
just
there?
got there. You have to wait
Yeah.
like years before you get like that duty.
Like
Yeah,
who?
she'll be
Who are
mopping
they
for a long
keeping?
time.
She's in what? Cell block 113 or something like that.
Oh, Jerry.
I don't know. What is it? Cell block?
I actually don't remember now.
Yeah.
He fixed him
I
up
don't
by
either.
saying cell block 1138, but that's not the actual one.
No.
2187. No, that's her cell. Detention block AA23. That's all I know.
That's
Wow.
all right. But
Yeah.
so what are the other people in? Like what are they held in the Death Star for?
Yeah, the people like from the Death Star, like, oh, this guy got drunk, like on
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
off shift and got into a fight.
Or is it
And-
like? Well, I've got a question I have that'll come up in the cantina again. Is are there laws? Like, does the Empire have laws? Like, are there laws against murder? Are like, do they have to fly around other planets and like arrest? You know, like if a sand person murders a Jawa, are they supposed to arrest the sand person and now he's in one of these cells?
Or is it, yeah, it's like an ugnaught on domestic violence.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
just
Are they
put
like
in-
they're like the police?
They
Right.
need more Death Stars.
And that's where they are. Yeah. Huh.
Maybe.
I don't
That is
know.
Weird.
Yeah.
I get they seem
are
to
they like, oh my gosh, we have a prisoner? That's amazing. Right this way, milady. Yeah, if you need anything, just hit the button.
Yeah, do you think this was originally a prison, or is this originally just like these are like janitorial closets or
Yeah,
something, and they
just
turned it
yeah.
into a detention block?
Right.
Well, you know, it's like they open the door and Princess Leia's just sitting there.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
And I did wonder, it's like I wonder what she's doing.
Just thinking her thoughts.
Yeah.
Where did
Speaking
I go
of
wrong?
Thinking your thoughts. When I was a little kid, I always thought that Your Highness sounded like the dirtiest word.
Your Highness.
And so, like, whenever I would hear that, Your Highness, I always thought he was saying a dirty word, like calling her a dirty name.
Because it sounds like Heine?
I think so. I don't know. Like, yeah, I
Wow.
think that's what I thought as a little kid.
That's hot. Sorry. Your Highness.
And I always
How
thought
dare you?
he's calling
I'm
her
a
like a
senator.
butt. He's like saying, "Hey, butt."
Your Highness.
What happens, like, right now? What would happen if she just started pressing Darth Vader's chest buttons?
Yeah, don't.
I'm
No, you just
serious.
erased
Like,
all my-
she's right,
Oh.
because
Yeah.
she's sitting and he's standing in front of her, and her head is near his chest, and he's got
Mhm.
the buttons. And it was like, the mind probe's coming, and if you just reached out and
Yeah, just like turn off the oxygen button.
yeah, or whatever. I don't know what
Yeah.
you don't know what would happen to him.
Yeah.
Just speaks with a different accent.
See, those buttons are one of the
Cycles
things
through
that made me
different
think
voices.
he was a robot.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I
what
mean, I didn't. I don't know if I know we talked about this already.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
did think he was as a little kid.
I never thought he was a robot, but I also never really thought the stormtroopers were, quote,
No.
people.
Oh, no. I
Oh,
never
Yeah.
no,
did.
no. I did. I totally.
Oh, really?
I never
you
thought they
guys are the
were.
guys that I would get mad at.
Yeah.
You'd be like, oh, they're robots or something. I'm like, okay, but if they're robots, how do you take off their uniforms?
That's true,
They're
yeah.
But I
weird.
thought
Yeah.
that was like
It was like a robot inside the uniform.
or something. Yeah, I never fully understood. So
Robot
you could
trying to
take
look
off
like a
the
stormtrooper.
uniform, and I was like, nah, he just happened to. It worked. I never thought they were
He
people.
pulled out enough of the guts that he could wear it.
I just thought they were stormtroopers. Like I thought that's what they looked like. Like that
Yeah.
was what
Mm-hmm.
the guy
Yeah.
looked like. He was made.
They're
like,
born.
Yeah,
look like
exactly.
that.
They're born.
Yeah. What's going on here? This bugged me to no end as a kid. Like seeing 3PO carrying the Jawas in his arms.
Oh, I hated that.
Like, how did he, like, I could never imagine him either bending down to pick one up,
Yeah.
or does he just stand there with both of his arms straight out and like, because Ben's not helping, like, who put them
Yeah.
into his arms?
There's no bending at the knees or lifting with the knees when you're 3PO.
Well, here's my question. So you have the Jawasiker. And you're
Mhm.
like, why on earth would you clean this up?
Yeah. Yeah. What benefit is there?
Why
to, like,
are
burning
you
these
cleaning
things?
this up?
It's a crime scene.
It is.
That's one of the things that makes me wonder if there's a murder law.
I mean,
in
even
the
if it's
Empire.
even if like nobody would consider, like nobody would care, like they're savages, who cares, whatever. Like totally dismiss them as not worth investigating or whatever. But even like what are the odds that somebody's going to come across this or anything? It's like
Yeah.
out in the vast desert. There's
Well,
creatures will
just like
come
if you
and
cr-
chow
you know,
down, and
if you
That would
create
seem to-
a pyre of bodies and ignite it, is that
Yeah.
somehow like reverence?
less conspicuous?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are
I
you?
don't know.
Is,
I think
it,
it
is
is,
that
yeah.
what they're doing? Are they burying
Yeah.
them with reverence?
they're giving them a proper
A
burial.
proper
They're not just
burial
leaving
by
them
creating a
scattered on the
pyre
ground.
and then burning them. Which
Although
then
if-
with
if-
that, I think the same. So they did actually bury and dispose of Beru and Uncle Owen properly.
I guess so. Yeah.
If they burned them.
Maybe they did just shoot them, and then one guy was like, "Guys, sorry,
Yeah,
you
that's
can't
not
just leave them like
respectful.
this."
Yeah.
Come on.
Get out
At least let's
get out
torch
the
'em.
bic. But it's yeah, I don't know.
I just don't. Why are they cleaning it up?
It's also Ben's kind of disposing of the evidence if he's the one that did all this.
Yeah,
Mm.
his fingerprints are all over the.
I
Yeah,
get the impression that
lightsaber marks.
they're just like
Right.
they're just biding their time, preoccupying themselves.
Yeah, just busy work.
until it's busy work until Luke shows back up, which is totally weird because Ben
Yeah.
knows all of what's happened, and he's like,
Mhm.
"There's nothing you could have done." And you're kind of like, "Oh, he knows," and you're like, "Wait a minute, he knows because of the Force." Wait a minute, no, Luke, it's too dangerous. Wait a minute. That was like a perfunctory, "No, Luke, it's too dangerous."
yeah.
And they're like, "So
Yeah.
did he know the whole time?"
That's a brilliant theory that he did it. I think that makes so much of the movie make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to believe it, but it's hard
No,
to
I know.
argue.
Yeah.
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 You know, in our intro today, Neil, we were talking about being preoccupied. Neil was very preoccupied with my garage. And I got something for Neil here. It's interesting that the land speeder is British style and the controls are on the right side.
Oh yeah.
I saw that. I wondered, like, when they show Luke driving back to, his home, like, are there road rules?
Are there roads?
Doubt
Yeah.
it. Yeah, that's like a big open space, and you kind of know where to go.
But there are kind of like when you look down the hill at Moss Isley, there are kind of roads.
Yeah, maybe when you get closer to, it's like it. Like again, it's like a western. Like there's always like the town with like a road down the middle, and it ends in like an arch, and then nothing. You know, like
Yeah.
after that, the road just stops.
But they're like when he's driving along, going to find R2, there's kind of like a road.
Oh, maybe, or maybe
Or
it's
like a dirt trail or
like
something,
a
like a-
dry riverbed or
Yeah,
something. Or
yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. It's
Like,
you
can they
travel
fly
the same
over
place
rocks?
enough.
Can you fly over rocks and bumps with that thing, or does it have to be a flat surface? Or like if you go over a rock, is it going to bounce up?
Like, so
don't
does it
know.
only go left and right? Like, if, like
What do
Or
you
yeah,
if you pull
yeah.
back,
Oh,
does it
yeah.
go higher? Or is it just no matter what, it's whatever, 3 feet off the ground, no matter what?
But that's why I
think
wonder if
that's
you,
it,
if you
yeah.
go over a rock, are you 3 feet over the top of the rock? Like, or is it going to be
Yeah.
a really bumpy ride all the time?
I think maybe like that repulsor lift, whatever field under it is like, shock absorbers. Like if you go over a rock in a car, you'll feel a little bump, but it's not like you go, whoa, like over the rock.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
It looks like a comfortable ride. And one of the best
It does.
effects, I think, in the movie, like when he gets into the land speeder to go home to check on his,
Yeah.
blowing and barbecue, what do you call him, barbecue? But he, like when he gets in, it bounces. Like you can see it bouncing, and I love that.
It's
just
incredible.
like the
I've already
toy.
said that was by far the best Star Wars toy was the land speeder.
100%.
100%.
Because it
100%.
had those tiny little wheels underneath and they were on a really loose spring.
Yeah.
And so you just give it the slightest tap and it would do exactly that.
Yeah.
It would that kind of like
It was
wobble to
amazing.
it. You're like, oh, it's floating. This is
Yeah.
amazing.
And it seemed like it'd be so comfortable to drive around in. It just like
Yeah.
cushioned.
Smooth.
And you know
Yeah.
what? When you look at 1977, the special effects are kind of, a little janky by today's standards. But when you look at
Mhm.
it, it's a little hazy and blurry under the land speeder.
Yeah.
And you're like, no, that looks incredible.
Yeah.
Right. There's something
Yeah.
going on.
There's something going on
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That is super cool.
Pete, question.
Yeah.
What do you think of the scene where Luke says he wants to become a Jedi like his father?
I think that indicates that George Lucas had no idea that Darth was Luke's dad at this point. Because he says, I want to become a Jedi like my father, and Ben doesn't flinch.
Well, Ben kind of
That
goes
is
like,
true.
I feel like Ben kind of goes, right, okay.
I feel like if he knew that Darth
Okay,
Vader, like his dad became Darth Vader, he would have done like, what?
Well, the whole point, if you put this together, you're like, if you really think about this, Ben's what, 70, 65 or something? You're like, so
45.
He's like 45 if you watch the prequels, but yeah.
that's ridiculous. This dude's not 45. And you're like, he says, I want to become a Jedi like my father. And there you're like, so Ben has been waiting 20 years for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now all the tumblers are in place and they're starting to tumble. And it's fascinating. He kind of goes like, right. Anyway,
Well, Luke's
Yeah.
never heard of a
I got you.
Jedi. Luke had never
Right.
heard of a Jedi like an hour ago.
no.
It's interesting that he's like if his dad were like a stormtrooper, would he have been like, I want to go become a stormtrooper like my dad?
It's almost like he's just fully latching on to the last guy like this guy Ben is on his
Yeah.
way out of here and he's
Yeah.
like, okay, all I've ever wanted to do is leave this place and now I have to.
Yeah.
So yeah, Jedi. I'm going to be a Jedi. I'll be 2
Yeah.
Jedis. This will be great. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, whatever you say, old man. Let's get out of here.
Because I still think it's so weird. Like I'd never noticed that before, that he doesn't know what a Jedi is, or like he's never heard of these things, like a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Like this is all brand new.
I guess it's just like, yeah, he's immediately turned on to it. Like, to find out that his dad was one, and this cool guy Ben was one, and he got a lightsaber and stuff.
Is Luke a cool guy, or has Ben a cool guy at this point?
Luke likes him. Luke has always seemed to like him. Like,
Yeah.
even when he's talking about him before you meet him, like, oh, I wonder if he means old Ben. Like, yeah, that good guy Ben.
I don't know if I
Good old
would
Ben.
say he thinks he's cool though. Maybe he
Maybe not
does. I don't know.
cool. I tend to toss cool around more than I should, especially about myself.
Well, it's also, I mean,
But he likes him. He admires him.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
a
I
father
agree,
figure
yeah.
to him already.
He's the only one he's got.
I know exactly. Yeah, pretty soon R2's going to be his father figure.